Hello, Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89, Star Trek's Gatekeeper. We finally got into the last two character trailers for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and it was Una and Pike. And Una dropped a few hours ago, or a while ago. But I was waiting for Pike because I'm like, I don't want to do two separate ones, I want to do them together. And I figured they were the last two. It looked like they were the last two because they're, the two most important characters. So we have Una's trailer. I'll do first. Starts off with the Enterprise coming at you and flying over, and we see her walking through like a rec room or restaurant, whatever you want to call it. And there are little slit windows like Discovery, and you can see a planet outside. I don't like the windows. I think it actually stops you from getting a real nice view of anything outside of it. There must be some nice observation deck windows somewhere on the ship, I'm hoping. But we have Una saying, all I ever wanted to do since I first saw the stars was join Starfleet. Pike says you're the best officer in the fleet. You're an example to all of us. Then she's saying, I think to Lian, as senior officer, I don't get to be part of the crew anymore. And she's like, no, it's not because you're a senior officer, it's because you terrify people. She laughs. We see her in some action scenes, some fire in the background, fighting on the bridge there. It seems to be a phaser battle. We can't see who's firing at the bridge crew, but we can see some people coming onto the bridge who don't look like bridge crew are also firing in the direction of the same direction that the bridge crew are firing on, so we're not sure who they're actually battling with or who these people are. And then, yeah, that's about it. She just says to her, I'm your backup. And she's like, you're fun. And that's sort of it. So the only dialogue really is with Pike and Laan. I don't know how to say her name. It's supposed to sound like Khan, Laan. But yeah, we only have one real interesting visual. We actually have when we have the shot of the planet and space outside of the slit windows, and we have a space station, which looks a lot like the other space stations, like a main body and a bunch of separate little, they look like little eco environments, and it's all sort of grey and black. There doesn't seem to be any colour in space, unfortunately, in Strange New Worlds. They've done a job with brightening up the sets and the uniforms, but the CGI still looks really grey and gritty in a bad way. It doesn't really look real, and it doesn't look well lit and bright or anything. It's the Enterprise looks awful. There's no beauty shots because it doesn't look beautiful. It just has this grey, gunmetal, dirty sort of look, like it's put together with different types of metal or something. It's not good. Now we get to Pike. It's a bit of a mixed bag. There are good things and bad things. Like Vulcan looks amazing, the sets look good, but the Enterprise looks awful. Some of the new characters look interesting, but Uhura, her reimagining is just bland. So it's a mixed bag. Now we get to Pike, and we have him. See, first shot is a shot of a planet, and then we have Una saying, unauthorized trips into non-Federation space. Someone's playing fast and loose with the rules today. He's like, who, me, the Boy Scout? And he's basically, it's all about his impending death. He says, I know exactly how my life ends. And Spock is saying, because he's talking to Spock at this point, in what looks like his quarters, could be the Red Room, I think it's his quarters. Spock's saying, knowledge of death is vital for effective leadership. And he's saying, I can't stop seeing it. Will it, basically make me hesitate? How will it live in me? And that's like the end of at least the dialogue for it. And there's not a lot visually in his episode. We see him riding the horse. We see him in the transporter room. There's not a lot happening in this one. Like there's nothing new visually. Like there's no space station, no new sets we haven't seen. There is one shot I forgot to mention of Una in the engineering section. She's got some sort of orange light coming out of her chest. I guess she's possessed by something. And you see a slightly different shot, a different angle of the engineering section, a bit further back, a bit different colour. And I'm surprised that they've gone that way with the engineering section because it resembles more the engineering section in Into Darkness, not the engineering section in Star Trek, the original series or the motion picture or Next Generation or Voyager or any of the other Star Treks where you have, a main warp core that you can see that is this. I mean, you see like a diagram of what looks like warp core, and it looks like the other warp cores, but where it is, I don't know. So that's not really working for me either. So there's a few things that don't work, a few things that do work. The uniforms look interesting. I actually saw a few shots of Una in the other trailers. I didn't think it was her because I thought it doesn't look like her. I thought it must be another extra or another crew member, or maybe it's her stunt double and they haven't CGI'd her face or something. And it's just her hair. They had 3 different hairstyles on her: a bun pulled back, and then the hairstyle we saw before, which is down, and she looks so different. I thought she was another character. So we don't get a lot new aside from with Pike. We don't get a lot new, and I mean we see shots of the room where the radiation killed him, himself in the future in the chair, and he looks down at a pad which has really awkward like buttons. Like they've stuck all these little jelly bean buttons all over everything because they think Star Trek fans think that's what original Star Trek is. It's a little bit condescending and insulting, but sometimes it seems to work in the overall look of things. But there's no way they'd have those on this. It's sort of silly, and we're not expecting that. You're either going to do an accurate recreation of that style, like Star Trek Continues or Next Phase, or you're going to do an updated version, in which case we wouldn't expect to see jelly bean buttons or anything like that. So, like I said, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I don't know if some people came on and changed things halfway through and that's why things seem a bit inconsistent, or they just weren't sure where the line was between representing the original series and doing something new was. I'm really not sure. It does seem quite uneven, but I'm feeling more optimistic about it overall. It does look like they're trying. There is another shot actually, sorry, of the Enterprise in space with a ship flying. They're flying out of like a nebula, probably that cloud that looks like it's on fire on top of the planet from I think the first episode we've seen a few times. So you sort of see the Enterprise flying and then this ship coming out of the cloud. There's another shot of an Enterprise and a ship flying towards it shooting. It looks like the same one from the other episodes that sort of has these sort of 3 sort of areas on the outside, and so inside it looks very mechanical and doesn't really look like a ship that's sort of closed off. Sort of looks sort of unfinished or like a probe or something. So we sort of see that firing at the ship, and Pike is like there's like explosions on the bridge and so forth. So yeah, I don't really understand why they're fixating on the whole he knows when he's going to die part, because either knowing that means he can change it so it's not an issue and it's actually a good thing, or if he can't change it then there's no point thinking about it. It wouldn't affect anything he does because he knows everything he does is going to be right and he's going to end up there, like that his fate is already decided. So I'm not sure where that element comes into it. I guess they can't ignore it, but I hope it doesn't become all about him obsessing on that, because maybe he's not sure. I don't remember how the time crystals worked in Discovery, and whether or not they just showed you, because they used I don't remember now. So I'm not sure what his options are, but either way, either you change it or you accept it, and it shouldn't really affect anything, because you can either change it or you know it's coming, so everything you know is going to happen when it's supposed to happen or how it's going to happen, so you should have that confidence, that reassurance. So yeah, but that was his trailer, was all about that. Her trailer was all about how do I interact with the crew, and I want to be here and now, how do I do it well and get along. So but yeah, so I found some of the other trailers more riveting, like seeing Vulcan, seeing the bridge view screen which has been fixed for the first time, seeing engineering for the first time, being confused. So not a lot to look at. The space station's nice, but everything is dark and made out of steel, which just is absorbed into the blackness of space. We don't really get a sense of, none of the ships are beautiful. I don't know what's happening with the CGI and the ships. It does look awful. Discovery looked a lot better, so I don't know what they're doing or who's doing this, but I'm hoping maybe these are just some early shots that weren't finished and they're going to look better in the actual episode. I'm a bit worried about it, but part of me is like, well, I wouldn't want this Enterprise to look as beautiful as the original Enterprise or the motion picture Enterprise, which is the most beautiful Enterprise ever. No one will ever top that. The D was pretty good. The first D, the 6-foot D, not the 4-foot D with the little piece of cardboard stuck all over it to give it texture like a Star Wars ship, which just actually doesn't give it scale, it actually makes it look smaller. I don't know. So I'm on the fence. There are parts I like that I'm excited about, and parts I'm like, ugh, I can't look at the bridge and see those fluorescent strips in front of the panels, which are going to be blinding the extras all day, and feel like that's realistic. I like the other strips all around the edges of things make sense, but the ones on the panel that you're staring at when you're trying to, there's things that bother me, and then things that don't. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to give it a chance though. Okay, so feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of it all. I'm going to go. Thanks. Bye.